Alright, everybody. We are back with Hannah, as the game tells us. Well, there she is. And got our relationships. So this is probably going to go down, and this is probably going to go up. But we'll see. I'm going to try and still have a positive relationship with Luke, even though I'm going to break his heart later. Let's see how that goes. Okay. Skipping, first of all. It still makes me really uncomfortable that no music plays during the skipping. Okay, so we throw a party. I'm gonna defend myself because Luke liked that.
Yes, I am very happy, Luke. Because for once in a very long time, we are doing what I want.
Alright, Lucille Mitchell Wright. Skipping. Done this before. We'll free up our schedule for Marianne.
But I guess we can free up a day to meet with you.
Man, she really liked that. I feel like Hannah's chapter is going to be really short, but we shall see. Got some journal entries again. Nothing should have changed from what we read last time. Okay. You'll be a great dad.
Kylie likes you well enough.
We saw this in the epilogue. Don't you know?
You look familiar. Have we met?
Ah, this is what I was waiting for. Excellent. So the game did take that into account. That we've met Zachary before. I have a very wide social circle, so everyone looks familiar at one point or another. But one would think I'd remember someone who stands out like him. The struggle to recall must have been evident on my face as he quickly and kindly answers my question.
Oh, I was with Isabella, your estate agent, when she had the house blessed.
Oh yes, that's right.
The one whom my husband was horribly rude and racist towards.
Small world, isn't it?
Should have known you were Miss Wright.
The one and only. Welcome, welcome to Maison de Wright. And yes, we've been in the process of moving in as we were delayed. But it won't be a problem.
Okay, are we back?
They're just adding a few things here and there, and you should still be able to do your work.
Okay, let's see. Yes, we are back. We're back, baby! Then be flirting through the halls. Oh yeah. And then that happened. And then we talked about Blue Foncé. Now we need to stop teasing Zachary.
I'll stop if it makes you uncomfortable, sweetie.
There we go. Poor Zach. Okay, so we had that. Actually, was there anything new there? No. Perhaps too personal. I was tending the gardens, Luke.
I was just tending to the garden, sweetie.
Don't worry about it. Okay. Okay. Now, in this instance, I have been forewarned that even though it looks on the branch like this doesn't affect much, this choice is very important. So I need to make sure I don't pick that right now. I need to do what I did last time. Even though Hannah will open the hatch at the end of her chapter anyway. But anyway, okay. I'm gonna call them out. I don't know what's supposed to happen there. I don't know if that's the death end or what, but I've just been told don't, under no circumstances, open the hatch. Be honest with me.
Be honest with me, Marianne. I don't need someone to sugarcoat it.
Alright. Still doing well. Have another journal entry. Everyone's at the party. Ghost at the party. Scandal at the party. And this, man, we really are flying through this. Might get 2 chapters done today. Let's see. The unborn babe. So last time we did this, but this time we're breaking Luke's heart. So this is our first different choice with Hannah. Yeah. But we're still in the positive with him, so we shall see. Because, I mean, he is the father of Hannah's twins. So I want them to have a good relationship, even if they're not together. Maybe Marianne had a point. If I am frustrated, if I am unhappy, maybe a break is needed. Some time apart might be just what the doctor ordered. Time apart to clear our heads and to think for ourselves. Or for myself, to be exact. Because looking at this mess before me just brings me nothing but distress. I feel a bit nauseous, actually, now that I think about it. Luke's too busy making a scene to notice, and a concerned Becky pulls me to the side. She looks as disturbed as I am by this sudden turn of events. Probably not a big fan of drama. Interesting, so picking this means that Becca came and talked to her. So we'll probably see this from Becca's point of view, too, at the party? Definitely not used to it, at any rate. Not surprising, as her parents were lovely, yet simple people.
Hey, I figured you could use the save. You looked like you weren't doing too hot back there.
Thanks, Becca.
Do we need to call a doctor or something?
Oh no, I'll just be needing some fresh air, that's all. Some help getting out of here would be much appreciated.
Sure, that won't be a problem. I wanted to get away from this drama too anyway.
Interesting.
Just... Hey, Zachary! Hey, Zach!
Make a wedge through the crowd, Zach, with your height. At the mention of his name, I can't help but seek him out in the crowd as he makes his way over. They know each other?
Becca, this is a real oh, hey, Miss Wright.
Hey. If I am to assign a random number to dictate the odds of having two of my acquaintances know each other, I'll say the odds are 1 out of 1,000. And if this is any other situation, I would have been suspicious. It isn't completely impossible to have two random strangers who I've met on separate occasions to know each other in what will be complete random happenstance. It's just that it's been faked before to try and dupe me because of who I am and who I am married to. Interesting. But right now, coincidence or not, I am just grateful for the help. As long as this doesn't turn out into a kidnapping anyway.
Hello, Zachary. I told you to call me Hannah. Did I not?
Hannah.
Yeah, you did. So this is what you called me for. We gonna get Hannah out of here?
I can see that they're friends. Not terribly close ones, but friends nonetheless. Although, there was like a hint of something in that one epilogue.
That'd be great.
They make quick work of getting us through the crowd. The people part because of Zachary's broad build, even if they want to approach me. Nice. Go, Zach. If that isn't enough, Becky's pointed glares keep them at bay. Teamwork makes the dream work. We even make it out of the ballroom without any untoward incident. So we didn't throw Rochelle out. Luke's busy just having a hissy fit. I wonder if they're still yelling in there. Though, judging by the commotion in the other room, the same cannot be said about the unexpected eviction. Okay, so they still evicted her. I really do need the fresh air. I need to be away from those nosy pockers. I need to be away from Luke. This is a good start as any.
Hey, I gotta go back in there. Completely forgot my bag like an airhead, and I'll see if I can tag Ash on the way out. You'll be fine here, right, Hannah?
Sure, me and Zach will flirt.
Not to worry, dearie. I'll just be right here.
Zach will be with you if you need anything.
Becky balks at the idea of going back into the ballroom. Anyone who hasn't yet would have realized I'm gone by now. And those busybodies will be gossiping about how I left the building with two unknowns. Along with what just transpired, stories both inaccurate and made up will spread by the night's end. It all matters very little in the grand scheme of things, of course. I won't even bother to try and quell them by returning to the fray. That leaves me with...
Zachary?
Yeah, you need something?
A hug would be nice.
I was only going to say how nice it is to see you again.
Oh, okay.
Oh. I can see the tension in the line of his shoulders. Odd how awkward he is when this isn't our first meeting. We had met on professional terms, certainly, but I'd like to think I was friendly. Nonetheless, I did not push the issue about the apparent discomfort when we were left alone. Not right away, at any rate. I know my curiosity will get the better of me soon. Before I can say anything, however, he speaks up.
You okay there, Hannah? I mean, of course you're not okay after what happened in there. I mean, that was terrible. But you're not gonna just fall down and faint or anything, right?
Try not to.
I'm fine. Thank you for your concern.
A beat.
I should be asking you the same thing. I remember you being a lot more eloquent.
Oh yeah, I'm just not too good with staying too long in a crowded room. Or handling intense drama, you know? Sorry about my clothes. Didn't think there'd be a dress code. Not that I have anything that nice to wear to a shindig like this. I dig nice, small, simple parties, so this is a real doozy for me.
And do you host your own nice, small, and simple parties often?
Only when there's occasion, birthdays and stuff. Those are a lot more fun for me, and I can be a lot more selective about letting only the people I'm cool with attend, right? I get to pick the food too. Of course, I make most of them myself. There's usually a dozen people or less, and all we really do is just hang out. Maybe do some grilling, karaoke, dancing, you know, the usual.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sure you're alright? You aren't exactly being eloquent yourself, as you put it. You must have something you want to get off your chest.
I don't know, Zachary. What am I supposed to say?
What are you supposed to say?
You can scream Merd if you want. I won't snitch.
Thanks.
You want to know what I think? How I feel? I think my friend may have slept with my husband. At least, I'm pretty sure she isn't pregnant with his baby, which isn't much now, is it? My husband is a selfish, pretentious, bloody sack of shite, and you know what? I don't give a flying fuck anymore! My God!
Wow. It's neat seeing Hannah just completely just be like, ah!
Well, that ain't good. Not giving a crap won't make the problem go away.
I'm going to ask him for a break, Zachary. I'm not going to pretend that there isn't a problem, but I just need to step back.
Fair enough. As long as you don't just up and disappear on him, I suppose.
Yes. Now can we please stop talking about him? Tell me more about your small, simple parties. Karaoke and dancing. How does that even go together?
Someone sings and everyone else dances.
Simple, really. We hope Ash doesn't take the mic, put on a bit of fun music, and just dance.
Oh my goodness. Picturing Ash singing is great.
Not that I can. But there ain't nothing complex about it.
You can't be that bad.
I'm pretty good with the twist. Or that's what they tell me, at least.
Cute.
I think they're just being nice. I'm sure it just looks awkward.
How should I respond to this blushing Zachary? How about you prove your dance skills?
I've learned that men tend to exaggerate. You can't honestly be that bad, can you?
Hey, alright.
What? Do you need a demonstration?
That would be preferable, yes.
It's not like there's music here, Hannah. Come on.
We'll hum.
I can barely dance with music, and I don't want to be dancing alone. I'll just look silly.
Are we gonna get them dancing together?
Imagine, mon ami. You are an artiste, are you not? With your photos and films and your guitar. You must know notes to play an instrument. Find a melody and a beat. Would it be such a stretch of the imagination? And don't fret, I will gladly be your partner.
I can tell by his expression that he's flushed, embarrassed. But no more protest escapes him, and he focuses with a slight tilt of his head. Then he starts to hum a little tune. I drag him into the gardens while we go through the motions, and he gains courage the farther we are from other people. Aww. That is beautiful. Dancing with the fireflies. That's really cute. And we just dance. Though he stumbles at first, unsure and bashful.
Where did you even learn to dance, Zach? The 60s want their moves back, honestly.
Awesome.
College of two left feet, obviously. And I'll have you know the twist is still an awesome dance.
Facts. We're happy, and we're having fun. Even if Zachary fumbles with his steps and did the funniest, oddest movements that anyone can pass off as dancing. There is no need to impress anyone, however. Not even each other. And this is the most I've smiled and laughed in a long time. It is simple. Simple is nice. Aww, my heart. I wish the same can be said about what I'm about to do. Aww, look at them! They do make a cute couple. In the aftermath of Rochelle's accusations, a devastated Hannah was seen exiting the ballroom with Rebecca Gales and Zachary Steele. Hannah was left in the care of the man when Rebecca had to go back to the party in search of Ashton. Now alone, the two had a talk and both were smiling by the end of it. Yeah, Becca got lost in that ballroom again. I wonder if she and Ash saw these two dancing at all and were just like, welp, I'm not going to ask about that just now. Let them have that. Simple isn't the adjective I will use to describe the task at hand. Because really, how does one tell their husband that they want to separate and say that, no, this is not a divorce? Not yet, at least. The possibility is there. But still, how am I even to explain that to Luke without him throwing a fit? Cutting too deeply into my sausages, I open my mouth to excuse myself. That is until I spy Luke mashing and stirring his poached eggs with a fork like a petulant child. He has been silent all the while, chin in his hand and elbow resting on the table. I worry that my absence after the debacle may have caused more harm than good.
Luke?
It's not you. Okay, it's you. What a good achievement.
I think we need a bit of a break. You know, some time apart.
At my words, he grows still and silent. I'm not quite sure whether I should be worried or not. I take it as my cue to keep talking.
It's not permanent or anything like that. Just for a while. In a few days, perhaps. I was thinking I can move back into our penthouse in the meantime, but I won't be moving out right away, so that I can help settle everything here. And I haven't even thought of packing yet. And I'll want to ask Johans to assign some of our staff. Unless you want the penthouse anyway. Then I'll stay here instead.
No, you take the penthouse. It'll be easier for you.
It isn't supposed to be this easy, is it? Can he really react so aloof to it?
Isn't this to your liking? I imagine that you'd like the space and independence. You'll have the bed and covers to yourself, and you can have whatever you want prepared for meals.
Oh, this is breaking my heart.
You can even have all the wine you want, though I'd rather that you don't.
This isn't about that, Hannah. Well, it's partly that, but...
The man stopped playing with his food, choosing instead to push the plate aside.
What's wrong, Luke?
He slumps back in his chair and just stops short of putting his feet up on the table. I suspect he's wanting some wine or absinthe by now, but any sort of alcohol is suspiciously absent in his hands.
Aside from that disaster yesterday and you telling me you want a divorce, everything is peachy keen.
The way he said that,
Will you want me to start in the letters then? To start the divorce settlements and whatnot? Will you be seeking ways to throw me out onto the street without a penny to my name?
She loves you. She wouldn't do that.
No, Luke, this isn't a divorce. I just told you this is only temporary. Are you really having a sulk because of what she said yesterday?
I am having a sulk because you believe her. You stormed out and now you're asking for us to split up? Soon enough, you'll want to throw me out like I'm a piece of trash.
Do you think I would be this calm if I believed her, Lucille Mitchell Wright? Because believe me, if I did, well, it wouldn't be pretty.
Yeah, Zachary got to hear the scream yesterday.
Besides, I know how you feel about children. It makes a whole statement laughable.
Sure, whatever you say.
His mouth draws into a thin line, and I can't bring myself to comment on his half-hearted reply. To me, the silence that follows feels oppressive. It only emphasizes the wall that has been built up by my obeisance and his hubris. And it looms between us, keeping us apart.
When are you leaving? In a week?
It won't take that long to pack. After All Saints, perhaps?
Okay, that's when he meets the ghost in the garden.
I'll go and inform the staff of this.
He only nods, with his full body. And I'll be lying if I said that didn't disappoint me. It broke. Infinity has been broken. That's a really awesome concept, actually. The infinity of the wedding rings, but then it breaking. During breakfast, Hannah asked Luke for a break. She'd be moving back to their penthouse for a couple of days. Despite trying to remain aloof, her husband accused her of wanting a divorce. Hannah insisted she simply needed a break from him. But if her and Zach are going to get together, probably going to be a divorce. I expected more resistance. The man could be stubborn as a mule if he wants to be. Perhaps I can leave now just to spite him. But that isn't like me. Even if this does end in a divorce, a thing we both surely wish to avoid, we can still leave on amicable terms. There's no point in making a mountain out of a molehill.
What are you still doing here?
Sheesh.
Just leave. You still have some packing to do, don't you? Go ahead. I won't stop you.
That probably hurts more than anything. Go ahead. And do nothing. There isn't much to do, it seems, whenever I step up to the plate and try to take responsibility for something. Perhaps because everything is already being handled by someone hired specifically for that job? Are we back?
I was hoping you could thank Zachary on my behalf as well.
Ah, okay.
He was really kind and wonderful.
He's a horrible dancer, but he's cute.
Well, you can tell him that yourself if you want. I can give you his number.
Ooh.
Oh, no, I don't want to be a bother. Intruding on his privacy.
Pretty sure he'd be fine with it. If you two on a first-name basis and all.
Ah, Becca trying to set things up.
So his number, right, it's...
Oh man, what a time. The call starts to go static, much to my frustration. A strange clicking noise drowns out most of her words, too. I can barely understand what she's saying. And the line completely dies. Alright, QTE's coming up, which I've done before, so I'm gonna skip it, but I'm gonna wait and let the death scene happen. I can feel a headache coming along. It's just building up, starting from a light throbbing on one side of my head. The static is gone, and that helps a lot. But there's still that incessant, horrible clicking. Again and again and again. Which doesn't make sense. The mobile's turned off, isn't it? And if it isn't coming from the phone, then where? Looking about, I can't help but let my eyes be drawn to the hatch leading into the wine cellar once more. There we go. Cry of a woman. That's when the clicking stops and I hear that crying. That familiar crying from before. What happened the other day when I was told that nobody should have been down there? I tried to forget it because of how it unsettled me so. One can hardly do that when I'm looking at the very thing I'm trying to forget. Somebody is crying down there again. But if I leave it alone, it simply won't stop bothering me for the rest of the day. They might have forgotten to lock it with the party going on.
This again?
I just realized Marianne's down there now.
If somebody is pulling my leg, I will not be happy.
Here we go. True enough, all it takes is a bit of a pull to open the hatch. Ugh. As I look down to the cellar, a sense of uneasiness washes over me. It isn't just the sudden onset of vertigo and nausea, but also the darkness. It's suffocating. And as I look down, it feels as if it's looking back at me. I worry that something will suddenly pull me into the deep. The cries drown beneath the shrieks that start echoing in my head, high and shrill like nails being dragged across a chalkboard. They're all screaming, shouting at me. And I can just feel her rage. Help me! She wants to drown me, drag me down and crush me in the very depths of darkness until there is nothing left of me. The deep abyss waits for me. For my death. They're all calling for it. This is a nightmare. Here we go. There's a rope around my neck and I can feel the rest of me being torn apart. And they're still screaming. I'm screaming. Though it is not my voice that escapes my lips. It claws through, climbing up and forcing its way up my throat like putrid bile. I choke and gag, yet I scream and shriek all at the same time. And I'm me, but not me. Here we go. We're just gonna leave it. Here she comes. I'm gonna scream probably. I'm sorry for everyone's eyes and ears. Ears more so, not eyes. Oh boy. Oh, she's gonna pop up again and shriek at my face. The screaming stops and dies down. It's a moment of reprieve, and I want to believe that I'm finally safe. But it's quiet. Too quiet. That's funny, she didn't even pop up. That face from Hannah, though. Okay, continue. We got relationship with the ghost, maybe. Phew. Okay. Aw. So he still cared enough about her to come and give her a hug. That's good. I was wondering about that.
Besides, you already know you can count on me whenever.
New entry. Okay, well that was Hannah's chapter. That was really, really fast. So we're just gonna continue on with Zachary. What's the history? Okay. It's just this line, I guess, because he took her with the priest? Okay, just that one little throwaway line. Let's see. Hope it won't stay long with her. Because no matter what promises I've made, this is a kind of fear no person could shield her from. I should know. There are still questions left to be answered. Okay. Then we're gonna skip again. I'm really glad I don't have to do the photo thing again. I can just let her get me. She's gonna get me. Okay, so she showed up, and then Ash called, so he's on his way. I'm gonna tell her the truth. Look at that. Look at that relationship bar. Okay, and then we got another journal entry about our medication. I cooked up a feast.
I don't know about you two, but I think you guys should really stay. I've already made enough food for all of us, and it'd be a waste.
It's ham, Ash. I know it's not a pie, but it's ham. Look at that. Alright, moving on. What's next? Ah, the pictures. Okay, this will be a little bit different. Gonna show it to Hannah this time. I don't have I don't have an explanation for what I saw yesterday. Yet. But when you've been there, seen something enough to raise the hairs at the back of your neck or leave you wanting to flee or hide, finding a more solid proof than a person's smudged off face in a photo is the least of my concerns. Ashton will undoubtedly give me flack for saying that, or even considering Isabella's words in those silly tales about the place. The guy is a skeptic through and through. It'll take more than my account for him to even give this a single thought. However, more than his opinion, it's Miss Wright I'm concerned about. Surely she must have felt something if those shows on TV are to be believed. A touch of coldness in her neck? Or maybe the feeling of being watched? That's what often happens, ain't it? Outside, the sun has yet to rise. I've still got a few hours before dawn. Got enough time to mull over how I'll go about warning her. Plenty of space to check if I'll get the same result if I redo the process again. Okay, so we're gonna work on it.
Somehow those urban legends don't sound so silly now.
Alright. This should be all new. So, is this before the part? This should be before the party, right? Let's see. Apparently I missed something on this day. I missed the ham! That's very important. Okay, so we took the pictures, we developed the pictures, okay. So this is the day before the party. In hindsight, this is a dumb idea. That is to say, rushing to a client I barely know's home first thing in the morning with news of a ghost lady potentially haunting their newly bought property. Oh, and there's a bunch of bizarre-looking photos of Miss Hannah I've brought as proof, too. So yeah, dumbest idea in the history of my dumb ideas, all things considered. Traveling to the outskirts of Anselm Village at the crack of dawn with only my bike as company, equally so. Personally, I don't think any of them would take whatever I'm going to say well, no matter how nice or accommodating they are. Ashton himself would tell me the same thing. Odds are he'll laugh at it in my face for good measure, if he doesn't freak out at me first for not listening to his warnings. Still, that's a whole separate can of worms I'll open at a different time, seeing as I'm already standing at the Wright's front porch waiting for someone to answer the door. More than anything, Miss Wright needs to know there's possibly nothing safe in this place. Warnings from friends be damned.
If only someone would answer the door sooner. Come on.
I try to ignore the looming presence their large, ornate doors give off as I press the doorbell for the 4th time. Its shrill ringing merely echoes, carried off by another warm, passing breeze. The first time I came to this place, I found myself basking in the silence it offers. Now the atmosphere is just heavy, packed with trepidation and tension. Isabella's right. It does radiate the creepy kind of vibe. And with the image from the day before constantly flashing in my mind, the unease becomes harder to ignore as each second drifts by. Not wanting to spend more time here than necessary, I ring the bell again. Another long second ticks by without anyone answering the door. If this fails, I can always go to Ash. Not really the most sensible course of action either, but waiting here ain't doing me any good. For all I know, the Wrights could be out of town. As luck would have it, just as I'm about to turn on my heel, a loud thump rises from the other side. It's followed by heavy footfalls and a string of very colorful expletives about one's parentage. I guess Luke's answering the door again.
Didn't we have that bloody annoying doorbell replaced yesterday? That Irish giant just cost me a fortune and she can't even fix this new thing.
Irish giantess. Oh, Luke, stop.
And where the hell is... Your Highness, if another po-faced prat is pressing that blighted bell, I swear I'll cut there.
Mm-hmm. How come Johans never answers the door? Does he just like to listen to Luke freak out? The door swings open, and a very irate Mr. Wright greets me, his partly rumpled appearance a clear testament to how early the hour is, in his Armani suit.
And who might you be? I don't recall asking the movers to show up this early.
I was prepared to face Miss Wright, their butler more so. But Mr. Wright, I don't quite know what to make of him yet. He surely knows how to make an impression, I'll give him that. Albeit a rude one. I only caught sight of him yesterday as he was directing the movers. Although from how exasperated he sounded then, it seemed like more yelling was done than actual giving of directions. Needless to say, I'd like to believe those instances ain't all there is to the guy. Miss Wright, at end of the day, did marry him. Standing before him like now, though, is a different story altogether. Despite the differences in our respective heights, he manages to make it appear like he is the one looking down at me, not the other way around. An apology instinctively forms in my mouth before anything else when he arches an eyebrow at my lack of response.
Well, that's not exactly why I'm here, Mr. Wright. Yeah?
Right, of course, the one and only. And what can I do for you this fine morning?
Fine.
Have I seen you somewhere before? Bloody, you peasants all look the same to me.
Bloody.
Yeah, I'm actually...
It doesn't matter. I don't care. I've got someplace important to be at today. Just spit out what you want or be gone. I haven't got all day.
His eyes are sharp and expecting in spite of his indifferent tone. The very impression of someone whose sharp wits has served him well throughout life, the kind you have to carefully choose your words around. Disconcerting how a simple conversation can easily seem like a ruthless form of social maneuvering. I can see why Miss Wright would want to steer clear of it, if only for a short while. And sometimes the only way out of the game is to be honest. Ah. Well, if we want to work on our Hannah relationship...
Sorry, sir. I was just...
Oh, she liked that. Is she nearby? I was wondering if she was nearby listening.
You see, I'm a friend of Hannah, and...
A friend of Hannah?
Hannah! I just, like, okay, I haven't lost any relationship with Luke. It's so small as it is.
Yes, sir.
His eyebrows shoot into his hairline at my answer. although it swiftly disappears under his dismissive gesture and a chuckle at its heels. A small frown spreads across my face before I can stop myself. What I said has nothing remotely funny in it, yet here he is, hugging an arm closer to himself in a weak attempt to keep his shoulders from shaking.
Did I mispronounce something wrong, or?
Something wrong?
No, not at all. You didn't. My wife, has never mentioned a friend like you. That's all.
Uh-huh.
I suppose it's a good thing she's venturing out of the usual. Vultures and savages, all of them hiding under sheep's clothing.
I don't really get it, sir, but it's
I
not
don't
really
get it.
surprising she wouldn't talk about me. We just met yesterday during the shoot.
As soon as the statement is out, the amicable air melts away almost palpably. His eyebrows crease into a frown and his posture stiffens. With how fast the atmosphere around us changes in merely the span of a few spoken words, I'm not quite sure what I can and can't say anymore. Like handling a ticking time bomb. Is this why Ashton wants us to stay away from them? If so, a part of me regrets not listening to him now.
Shoot. Who are you again?
Zachary Steele, sir. I was here yesterday from the magazine feature about your home.
Funny, she didn't mention making a friend in the gardens yesterday.
It was really just small chit-chat, sir. The usual. To keep things entertaining. The shoot did take the whole afternoon to finish.
Oh, I'm sure she was pleasantly entertained. She wouldn't be making friends with media types if she wasn't. No matter. She's her own woman. She can do what she wants so long as she doesn't do anything to ruin herself.
I'm sure Miss Wright is aware of that, sir.
At least he's like, she's her own woman.
That she is. But we aren't here to talk about her, are we? What is this about today? The city's a long way from here. On pushbike, no less.
Yeah, I was actually hoping to talk to her.
Of course. Here for another headline, perhaps.
Not exactly, sir. I'm off work. This is for something else.
That's what they always say. The next thing you know, your face is in the front page of every conceivable scandal sheet going all the way to the ass end of Plymouth. You media types have such an insatiable taste for gossip. It's almost amazing.
I was not expecting this long of a dialogue between Zach and Luke, but I'm kind of weirdly enjoying it.
There won't be any of that in an interior design magazine, sir. I can assure you that one.
Oh, you never know. Well-trained hounds have an uncanny way of sniffing out things no matter where you keep them. I do admire the passion, though. It takes a lot of energy for someone to leave bed this early, let alone knock at someone else's door at this hour. That aside, unfortunately, you're going to have to come back some other day. You see, darling wife left not a moment ago.
Aw.
I have not an inkling where she went, or when she'll be back, so you're better off.
This is where he's like, Luke, who is that at the door?
Love, is it the movers?
Yes. You liar. He stops speaking altogether, and the complacent expression he has collapses on itself. Oh, hi! Look who's here. Slowly, he turns just as his wife walks up to him with a step too lively for comfort, a smile too sweet, to be honest. She's very likely heard everything her husband and I have talked about, which is why the affection went up.
Going off somewhere.
I've got the few things I want them to transfer already. Marianne made this splendid arrangement for the music room and... Love, are you listening?
I thought you already left, Buttercup.
She musters a frown. A pout, more like. The mischievous gleam in her eyes when she glances at me says all there is I need to know. I like that face. I would have laughed at her antics if it wouldn't offend the other man. But as it is, it's better to let his wife have her fun without any reaction from me. I'm treading on dangerous grounds with him already.
Well, I most certainly have not left yet. I wouldn't be standing here if I did, would I?
Of course you wouldn't be, darling. But don't you need to be somewhere else today? Something with Marianne? Shopping, girl things?
Girl things?
Oh, I'll be leaving in a few. Unless you want to join us.
For those girl things?
No thanks, darling. I'm afraid my liver, it's killing me today. Ooh!
Luke, stop. You kill me.
I thought as much. You needn't have to worry. I'll be gone in a few. It's just that I heard we have a visitor. What kind of person would I be if I didn't greet him before leaving?
A very gracious one, I'm sure.
Zachary, right? Zach, it's a pleasure to see you again.
Likewise, ma'am. I was actually looking for you.
Is that so? What for?
A huge display of unprofessionalism is what it's for.
Go away.
Shush, darling. Let the man speak. I'm sure it isn't anything like that if he has to come all the way here, yes?
It's about yesterday. The photos you asked, I mean. The copies are ready, but...
My hand stills as I'm about to fish the prints out of my pocket. A short second passes that which strikes me how I didn't think this through at all. How I'll go about telling her regarding the strange photos, or revealing this to her in the presence of another person. Her husband, gazing over us like a hawk, doesn't provide any sort of comfort either. And just like that, all the words I have been practicing to say on the way here inevitably fall stiffly off my mouth. Miss Wright must have noticed my hesitance, because shortly she gives her husband's arm a gentle squeeze, a tender smile gracing her face. Unlike the first, this one is meant to appease.
Love, I think Hansi might need some of your input for the final guest list. Could you check on him, please?
Bollocks! Why in all Luxborn do I have to be there? Doing tedious jobs are what he's being paid for.
It's your party.
Because if we end up with people whose faces you do not want to show up in our housewarming party, we won't be hearing the end of it. Unless a heavy dose of liquor's involved. You know what the doctor said about that. Please do poor Hansi and your liver a favor,
He can handle that on his own, Buttercup. And my liver is doing just fine.
I thought you said that your liver wasn't doing fine.
I'm sure it is. But I don't know, love. I think I caught a glimpse of the name Mitch Lakes, was it? I think it was Mitch Lakes on it when I checked with Hansi earlier.
Who the heck is Mitch Lakes?
You should see for yourself. It was quite a list.
Who put that blighted twat in there?
And that's why I'm asking you to look over it before I do so tonight.
Very well.
But even with that promise, he doesn't appear ready to leave. Short of passing through their doors, he stops and glances back at me, all without bothering to hide the distrust in his eyes. I mean, it's fair.
Luke, dear, I'll be fine. Go back to your butler. I'm not some pregnant wife you have to worry about.
Fine, fine. I have to go to that little ankle biter's career day later anyway. I don't see why I have to go there. Kylie's your goddaughter.
And yet, she has you around her little fingers, darling. That's basically the same thing.
If he ever has an answer to that, we don't get to hear it above the heavy thud the door makes and Miss Wright's own weary exhale after she's sure her husband is out of earshot. She's nothing but apologetic when she fixes her gaze back to me, and I can't help but return the same to her.
I am so sorry you had to deal with that. My husband can be a bit trying when he really applied himself.
That's a nice way of putting it.
It's fine, Miss Wright. No harm done. It was my fault for showing up here unannounced.
Aw, that's right as Zach.
And this might be strange coming from me, but he does have the right to be wary. The press can be quite vicious when it wants to be.
Caught unexpectedly, they'll pick you apart. It is not surprising why he acted the way he did around me.
Sweetie, if Luke treats every journalist who shows up here like that, I'm afraid we'll end up with a harassment lawsuit hanging over our heads sometime in the future. Vicious or not, some sort of finesse has to be exercised when dealing with them. I'm sorry, I hope that wasn't too offensive.
Not at all, Miss Wright. Besides, I don't think an interior design magazine would be interested in who harassed who this week. Unless it has something to do with fighting over tastefully arranged furniture. But even then, I don't think our readers will be too interested.
Oh, dearie. You've got a lot to learn. You really have no idea how a single tattle can ignite a spark in a crowd. Of course, at the end of the day, it's still the thought that counts. It's still a lovely anniversary gift from my husband. No matter. Let's just go.
You want me to... Wait. You want me to go with you to Marianne? I thought... Okay. It wasn't gonna take that long. She doesn't wait for an answer and immediately wanders over a car parked some distance from us. Unsure, I find myself trailing after her. A chauffeur automatically opens the passenger side door as she nears, and she gestures for me to follow when she climbs into the back seat.
To... where are we going exactly?
I need my bike.
I need to get out of this stuffy house for a while. Moving in, planning the party. It's starting to get suffocating in there. Luke and Hansi can have their fun while I'm gone. I don't care. I'm getting up because I can. Another minute in there and I'll drown.
My bike.
There are, of course, a lot of things questionable about her invitation. Why she's asking a person she has only known for less than 2 days in the first place is one. How appropriate this is being another. But the rest of it crashes the moment she shoots me an imploring look.
Please? I can have someone send it back to your address later. And it's just a trip to the city for some furniture, nothing more, I assure you.
Okay.
Marianne will be with us, and maybe you can tell me why you're here on the way.
This is not how I was expecting this to go, but okay.
Guess it wouldn't hurt. I might have to leave early, though.
Excellent, then. Hop in. That's what they often say, yes?
Yes, they. This can't be a good idea, but I really don't have any other choice, do I? I mean, you could be like, I need to go. Especially with the way her eyes light up when I agreed to it. In my pocket, the very picture of her remains faceless. A voiceless shadow hanging threateningly between us, unknown to her. Okay, let's read about this angry, tired boy. Disturbed, Zachary decided to show the photographs to Hannah herself. He was greeted by a wary Luke Wright upon arriving at the mansion. Just in time, Hannah appeared to save Zachary from further interrogation. At her request, Zach accompanied her to Luxburn City. If someone told me I'd be spending my entire morning being dragged around half of downtown Luxburn looking for furniture, I probably would have simply smiled at them. Then perhaps even given them a good friendly pat on the shoulder and wished them a nice day. Not that I find anything wrong with this at all. On the contrary, this is most definitely a nice change of pace after weeks of getting bogged down by several freelance gigs and shutting myself inside my apartment whenever I can. If only the weather would be a whole lot nicer. The kind with less sun and more clouds, perhaps? Wow. Everyone here hates sun. With the mid-morning sun slowly beating down on us as high noon approaches, I can see why Mr. Wright skipped out on this trip. The bright side is, the whole thing seems to have put Miss Wright in a less somber mood. After the 5th store, her pace is considerably livelier, her gestures less guarded than the one she displayed at the mansion earlier. The presence of another person might have helped as well. Although Miss McCullough seems less predisposed to small talk, preferring to keep to herself most of the time and let Miss Wright lead us wherever. She did acknowledge me with a small nod when we were introduced earlier. But that didn't make standing outside the store together any less awkward while we wait for our client to finish her inquiry inside.
So, interior design, huh?
I think this might be the first time we've seen these two characters interact. She cast me a sidelong glance before returning to her notes again, her pen scratching faintly against the paper in quick successive strokes. Ah, there goes that. I did say I'm not any good at starting or keeping conversations going, didn't I? She doesn't look back up again, and I take that as my cue to stop any attempt of striking a dialogue with her and keep myself occupied with some other thing. Except what we have here is just Luxburn and its busy streets. People going about their day like normal, cars moving in and out of sight heading to who knows where. Nothing remarkable, really. The ease with which a person can fade into the background here is reflective of the kind of city Luxburn will always be, but the humdrum's one thing I learned to live with. Needless to say, it doesn't usually stay that way. There are times when it would come alive, make itself known, and reassert itself back to the world. However, those moments are few and far in between. Then again, with what graces the news channels lately, I'm starting to think it's going to happen sooner. Can't say I'm looking forward to what it'll bring.
Luxury living, is it?
Her voice effectively cuts through my thoughts just as I count the 13th passerby wearing a hat today. Beside me, I can hear the faint rustling of paper and the clicking of her pen as she stashes them back to her bag.
Excuse me, what?
The magazine you're working for. It's Luxury Living, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. You've been featured by them before, I take it?
A few years back, yes. For just some issues. My designs still appear from time to time, though not as frequent as before. Gotta have room for new talents, right?
It may not show in her face, but the pride is evident in her voice.
Good folks, the people running the publication. Tell me, is DK still on the editorial team?
I wouldn't know. I've only started taking jobs from them this year. Freelancer, you know.
Good man, that guy. Anyone in our field should meet him. He had a lot of things to say about art, all of them relevant. Learned a lot from him, actually, even if we both came from 2 different fields. I hope he's in a good place. I haven't talked to him in a while. Anyway, your portfolio must have been good if they gave you the job. They don't easily assign big features to freelancers like this.
I wouldn't say I am, but experienced, you know? The more you practice it, the more you learn the tricks of the trade. That kind of stuff.
I know what you mean. Still, you've got to keep up with the competition. Each year, a new talent emerges, and, well, you never know. Clients can be a bit fickle-minded with their choices. Believe me. Speaking of, do you think you'd be up for a new client after this?
Oh?
Think so? Depends on how big the project is.
She reaches into her bag again. This time to pull out a business card, which she hands over to me. Well, look at that.
When you're free, send your portfolio to Chris. He's my assistant.
Really?
He's been looking for a decent photographer to help with updating the studio's portfolio. Nothing urgent, but the sooner the better.
Not sure if I'll have the time to squeeze this in. But, alright, I'll give it a go once.
Marianne, could you look this over for me?
At that very moment, Miss Wright emerges from the store. When I look back to Miss McCullough, a mask of professionalism has returned to her. Or at least that is what it is trying to be. There's a different light in her eyes as she faces her, a flicker of familiarity and recognition. I'd say it's fondness, but that would be too presumptuous. Whatever it is doesn't last and is briskly swept under the firm tone her voice assumes.
Definitely. Is there a problem?
They said they don't have the colors you suggested. Do you think we can change it around for a bit? It might take a while if we insist what we want, and you know I'd rather not worry about this later.
I think it'd be better if I handle this one myself. Excuse me.
She's got her gloves on. She walks into the shop without another word, leaving the 2 of us standing outside. As soon as she's out of earshot, however, Miss Wright lets out a giggle and swipes the business card cleanly off my hand. Hey. She smiles, a bemused little thing spreading across her face, and waves the card in front of me. I wish she'll do that more often, the smiling thing. It suits her more than the other one she frequently shows to the media.
I look away, and the next thing I know, you're picking up women. On the streets, while the sun is high, no less. I'm not sure if I should be appalled or amazed.
Wait a minute, this is no.
Whatever happened to the Zach I met a day ago? About as tall as you. Photographer. Quite the gentleman.
Ugh, you're a ruthless tease, Hannah.
To tell you the truth, I'm a bit disappointed he's gone.
It ain't like that, Miss Wright. And I'm sure Miss McCullough is not the kind of woman to let herself be picked up by strangers, let alone people she barely knows.
Oh, shush. Let me have my fun.
Let me have my card.
And didn't I say you can call me Hannah?
Many times.
This right after you introduced yourself as my friend in front of my husband. I do believe this isn't how friends address each other. Too formal, don't you think?
She gives the card back to me, nevertheless, and with it her mood fades into a more pensive one. An odd look settles on her face, yearning, a bit wistful as she looks back towards the shop's display window. There's nothing remotely interesting in it for me when I follow her line of sight, though. A few trinkets here and there, a fur rug, a sofa, a wooden side table, and a lamp, all tastefully picked and arranged to resemble a typical antique living room. On second thought, it does look comfortable. But why they added a crib beside it baffles me. It's the crib. She's pregnant, Zach. Unless, of course, the people they're hoping to market to are those who already have children, or about to have one, then maybe it is fitting. Peculiar choice of decorations aside, it does make for a nice icebreaker if it's not on the same level of weird and completely out of the blue. It still leagues better than the awkward silence, which is definitely too out of character for a personality like Miss Hannah's. How should I start the conversation? Do you think a crib would make a good gift? Or I think that one looks cute. I mean... say it's cute because she's expecting kids, maybe?
Ooh, I think that one looks cute.
Oh, she liked that. Okay, I wasn't quite sure where either of those were going, but I'm like, maybe? Hannah balks, to my surprise, shuffling 2 steps away from the window and glares at it with such vehemence as if it did something remotely scandalous. A funny sight when taken out of context, and I probably will be laughing, really, if I understand what warranted such reaction from her.
I wasn't looking at the crib.
Oh?
I wasn't really talking about the crib, Hannah.
Gotcha.
Very good then. But it wasn't the crib, all right.
Uh-huh.
Alright, I get you. But that's not it. Honest. I was just saying the stuff that was on display there looks nice. Or at least as nice that it can be compared to the ones we visited earlier. But I'm sure your interior designer has something different in mind for your mansion, so don't mind me.
I was hoping that would be enough to cut the topic short. Instead, she sighs, leans on the wall closest to her, and runs her hands through a lock of her hair. There is a far-flung look in her eyes, even as she fixes it on the concrete curb.
You need to stop looking at people like that, sweetie.
I'm afraid I don't quite catch your drift, ma'am.
I suppose you wouldn't be aware of it. Do you know you always carry this kind of phase?
It's my face.
Like you're always staring at the world with this honest look. Like all there is to see is all the good in it.
Frankly, I don't see anything wrong if it's like that. I mean, there always has to be something in it. You know, a sprinkle of kindness here and there. Otherwise, we'd all be miserable.
For you, maybe. Some people have to fight through it just to see that. And kindness isn't always a great thing to have around. Sometimes too much of it can hurt.
It makes you wonder where this is coming from. How bad things have really gone for her to have this view. I do understand her sentiment. Really, I do. Still, when it's the last thing you can cling to when things have gone irreversibly bad, sometimes you simply don't get to make a choice.
Besides, the point is, it's impossible to lie when a person is looking at you like that.
Ah.
Or I could, but I'd feel like a horrible person afterwards. Did you hear that, Mr. Zach? You just made me feel like a horrible person.
I'm sorry.
I sort of wish I had one like it. Just so people would stop lying to my face.
Or you can start by being honest with yourself. It shouldn't be quite hard.
Ouch, got her.
Friends don't lie to each other, don't they?
I guess so.
So what was the lie?
She draws in a breath, lays a soothing hand to her stomach, and...
That it was really the crib I was looking at earlier, silly. You're right, Uncle Zach. It's cute, but the pattern's not to my taste. I'm pretty sure Marianne could do something about that, though. At the moment, what I should really be worried about is if I'm ever going to be a good mother to this child. Mad! I can't even tell the father he's going to be one in a few months' time.
Yeah, when did you... Oh, you told him after the Did you tell him after the party? I can't remember now. I gotta go back and figure out when you told him. Shoot.
Probably doesn't even want anything to do with this whole pregnancy thing. What am I going to do, Zach? Because right now, I'm absolutely at a loss.
Oh.
Oh. A beat.
Oh!
Oh no, Zachary. The realization strikes me like a ton of bricks suddenly bearing down on me. More than astonishment must have shown in my face, because Hannah lets out a chuckle. The slump on her shoulders disappears altogether underneath her mirth.
Don't look so surprised, dearie. Tied the knot 7 years ago, remember? Don't you think it's bound to happen?
She brandishes her hand in front of me, the unassuming silver band on her finger glinting against the late morning sunlight for a second. She eyes it lovingly, almost tenderly, despite the trace of sadness in her voice. For all I know, there is an entire story there. I'd ask, but that would be too inappropriate, even for friends. It's not my place to meddle to begin with.
Or at least that's what they've been saying early on. My whole social circle would be saying it's a long time coming.
But the kid is something you want, right? Because if it ain't, then that's a whole other problem.
Good point.
Of course. I wouldn't deny I've been hoping to have him or her for a long time now. But then, now that we're here, all of a sudden, there are a whole lot of other things to be worried about. business, a new home, public image, my own husband, and I don't know. I didn't really have anyone for a role model. I practically grew up with nursemaids pampering me every step of the way. What if it happens to this baby as well? Oh, I can already see how this will end.
Huh. I guess it's not just my sister.
What?
You and my sister. I mean, you're both having jitters or something like that. That's what it's called, right? First baby jitters? Mind you, she was really convinced she'd do everything wrong then. He even called me in the middle of the night. Has to switch places the day she found out she's carrying a new member of the family. Never mind how utterly impossible her request is.
Dang.
I'm quite sure I haven't done anything of that sort yet.
Oh, you don't know that? My brother-in-law has been telling me things 5 weeks into my sister's pregnancy. Since she's one cranky pregnant lady. Man, good thing I found a place for myself years before that bundle of joy arrived, huh?
It can't be that awful.
Who knows? I think we'd better leave it for Mr. Wright to decide, yeah?
Provided he comes around. He just sounds so repulsed every time the idea is brought up.
Then maybe you should say it to his face. No mincing of words or beating around the bushes.
And if he says no?
You haven't even told him yet. Besides, that's his kid. Don't people usually say fatherhood changes men? I wouldn't call myself a living testament, of course. But there ought to be something that will hit him in that idea alone.
A wrecking ball would be nice.
Laughter escapes me before I can stop it. And for a moment I thought I have done something wrong when she doesn't join in. He's still her husband, no matter what jests or complaints she hurls about him behind the media's eyes or in the presence of people she trusts. But when she does, her chuckle, a small hesitant sound at first, I find the rest of my unease slipping away.
Well, whatever it is, my point is, you've got no idea what will happen. In the same way, you don't know if you'll be a good mom. Trust me, my sister's been there. It's perfectly normal. If, my opinion matters, though.
A long second of indecision goes by. I can feel her eyes, filled with nothing but curiosity, boring into me while she waits for the rest. It's just a simple sentiment, but one thing I think she needs to hear for all the doubt she unwittingly places on herself. I'm just not sure if it should come from me. Ah, I'll be damned.
I think you'll be a great mother, Hannah.
Yeah, I figured you were gonna say that. If she has an answer to that, I don't get to hear it, nor does she get to say it. As soon as it's out of my mouth, the bell hanging over the antique store's door chimes and out comes Miss McCullough. For more than one reason, I have never been so relieved our talk got interrupted.
Everything's been taken care of for tomorrow, Mrs. Wright. We'll have everything you requested delivered early.
What strings did you pull?
I've left them instructions, but I may have to visit again right before your housewarming party to check for a few things. I hope that's acceptable to you?
More than Marianne. This is a little early to say, but you did marvelous work with the mansion. I can't wait to see all of it come together tomorrow.
I'm only doing my job, ma'am. Needless to say, it's always a pleasure to hear a client is satisfied with my work.
Nonsense! You have every reason to be proud. I know you've already established your name here, but I'll still make sure word gets out, of course. I think I've got a few friends who might be interested in decorating their homes. I'll see if I can introduce you to them tomorrow.
I really don't want to impose, Mrs. Wright. There's still a lot to be done, and I'd rather be keeping an eye on it myself.
You know well enough I'll still do it. You too, Monsieur le Photographe. You better be the one taking the pictures for the event tomorrow, or I'll be very upset.
I blink at her, confused. Last I checked, I have nothing scheduled on my plate tomorrow. A couple of fleeting thoughts did cross my mind, like working on personal projects. But with the expectant expression on Hannah's face alone, I've wondered before how they got Isabella to sell them the mansion, with all the paperwork and the loops it has to go through. Well now, the how is already standing in front of me, and it's one giant ball of persuasion in human form. If I have any doubts how she got around life, all of them have been dispelled right this instant. Hannah hasn't said anything yet, but I already know what my answer will be.
What event?
Our housewarming party, dearie. I've already sent invites through your publisher. They should have informed you of it by now.
I may have probably missed it. I haven't gotten the chance to check my mailbox yet. Deadlines, real-life happenings, you know, they can be pretty hectic. I'll try later, but they might have already assigned it to a different photographer if they haven't received my reply yet.
That's not a problem. Nothing a little call from me can't fix. I'll have them know I'm specifically requesting for your presence. It shouldn't be too hard. Just promise me you'll show up. I expect to see you both there. No excuses.
Poor Marianne.
Good company, good music, good food. Of course I'll be there.
Good food.
Lovely. I hope we have that settled then. I'd love to stay and chat, but unfortunately I have an appointment scheduled with the doctors after this. You two will have to excuse me.
Are you feeling fine, ma'am?
It's nothing big.
Yes. There is a short while in which her hand faintly touches her stomach when she says this. Her smile, as she does so, a tender thing in itself. She might never let it cross her mind, but motherhood would suit her. The kid is already loved, even when he or she has yet to have a sense of the world. Candid moments like this, I wish I had brought a camera for.
Sorry we had to cut this short. I'd love to have lunch with you two, but, well, you two know how it goes.
It's quite fine, Mrs. Wright. I need to get going as well.
Is it somewhere far from here? I can have my driver drop you off on the way.
No, please. There's no need for that, Mrs. Wright. It's just within the city.
I see. What about you, Zach? We did leave your push bike at the mansion. Don't worry, I'll have someone bring it to your home later.
Nah, I live within the city too. A few blocks from here, in fact. I only visited earlier because...
The photos. Damn, I have completely forgotten about them. My hand grazes the side of my pocket where I've kept them since this morning. And sure enough, they're still there, waiting for the whole world to see them.
Because? Zach, sweetie, you're zoning out.
Zach, come back to us.
Miss Hannah, earlier, at the mansion.
Should I still show her the photos? I don't know now. I was kind of interested to see what her reaction would be, but... She kind of left the house in a bad mood and is now in a better mood, and I don't want to ruin that for her now. Not to mention Marianne, I'm sure will think it's very unprofessional of him to show the photos. Just like with Isabella and showing the letter. No? I don't usually do that because I'm always like, you came for a reason, but then we left the mansion, we came here, we did a bunch of shopping, we chatted, we schmoozed. So, Whoa! Max! Okay. And nothing changed with Marianne, so maybe Marianne doesn't care either way. But Hannah was happy we didn't show it to her. She should know. I really should tell her. Yet...
Zachary, what is it?
When I look at her, all I see is a woman who only wants the best for the family she's trying to build. I see those loving smiles on her face whenever she puts her hand over her belly, the fond tones in her voice every time she thinks about what will be in months' time. I bet she bought that mansion for the same reason. To fill its many rooms with the smiles and laughter of their children, to create memories from it, unlike the lonely one she had as a child. And I can't bring myself to shatter that little wish. What other proof do I have except for what might be taken as a couple of badly developed photos? No matter where you look at it, this is ridiculous. Maybe I am seeing things, and I need to visit my doctor again as soon as possible.
About the photos you requested.
Oh, are they done?
No, actually, they're not done yet. I had to finish the ones for the magazine first. I really don't want to rush it.
Please don't tell me you came all the way to Anslim just to tell me that.
Oh, yeah.
I made you a promise.
Oh, you poor thing. I won't hold it against you if you can't give it to me soon. I'm not rushing you, dear. Good art takes time, yes.
Yes.
I'm more concerned about the quality than how fast it gets delivered. With it, I'm sure I'll get my money's worth.
You really don't have to pay for it, Hannah.
Shush you. Don't sell yourself short. You keep doing that and other people will follow. I'll have my secretary send the first half to your account tonight. No buts.
Behind her, Miss McCullough merely nods, mouthing at me to take it just as it is. Don't argue. She'd know, of course, being the other person working for the Wrights. But even if I decline, I'm certain Hannah won't be giving me a choice. She'll do it anyway.
I guess I'll just have to make sure I'll take good photos tomorrow at your party, yeah?
Fair enough. I'd love to discuss it with you, but I'll only get in the way. And I really need to leave now.
Have a good day, then.
You too, sweetie.
She smiles and waves, and then she's gone, leaving me wondering if I've just wasted half of my day worrying for nothing. But the weight of the photos in my pocket is impossible to ignore. Maybe I should have done the foolish thing instead. I don't know. She liked it, though. Aw, that's the crib with like a little mouse. That's a 3-star mouse. At Luxburn City, Zachary and Hannah met with Marianne McCullough. While Marianne was busy, Hannah disclosed her pregnancy and her frustrations to Zach. At the end of their talk, Zachary changed his mind about the photos. Miss McCullough departs shortly after Miss Wright has taken her leave, muttering something about getting a quick lunch before fetching Baruthiel from Chris. I don't know what or who a Baruthiel is. It must be important for her to be in this kind of a hurry. And, well, she doesn't seem to be fond of small talks, something we can both agree on. Lunch sounds good, or a walk around the city, maybe. But with the sun as high as it is now, nah. And after how things with Miss Hannah went, I simply can't muster the appetite for anything at the moment. If I don't do anything with it now, I have this impression it will rear its ugly head again. And by then, things might be too late to fix. What other choice do I have? Ash? Rebecca? In all likelihood, all they'll give me is a pat in the back and a, "Z-Man, go get some sleep. You're at it again," from Ash. I talked to Isabella, but I haven't seen her around since she showed up at my apartment 2 days ago. Weird. There is one person, though.
Damn, I should have thought of that first.
Who?